Hello beautiful people of the world, welcome to my channel. My name is Shea and today's video is going to be about what you need to get started with your Cricut. So you just got your Cricut Explorer Air 2 in the mail or whichever Cricut product you have. And what do you need? You want to get started on a project, what are you going to do? What tools and items are you going to need? Bare minimum, simple. Again, this is just my opinion of what I would personally suggest you get and what I would get, but you do you. It really depends on what you want to make. So if I'm not mentioning something that you're wanting to make, then obviously tweak it a little bit. So let's get right into the content. You just received your Cricut, you're so excited, you want to get started, you open it up and realize it doesn't come with vinyl, mat, tools, all of these things. What do you need? So my suggestion is for sure getting some type of tools. It does not have to be Cricut brand. It can be whatever brand you would like, but some type of tools to be able to weed out your material and cut your material and just all of these things. I bought the Cricut tools. I found them really helpful personally, and I use them every single project I have ever made with my Cricut. I have at least used one of the tools. Every project. There's not a single one that I didn't use these Cricut tools with. The next most important thing you're going to want is a mat. So it is literally what you need to cut or make any item with your Cricut is going to be a mat. Again, it doesn't have to be specific Cricut brand. I personally do use the Cricut brand mats, and I would suggest getting a 12 by 12 mat. You could also get a 12 by 24 mat, but I think that's just getting a little bit more advanced, and honestly, to start off with, a 12 by 12 mat is perfect, and these are the ones that I use. They really do last a long time if you take care of them, you keep the protective sheet, and there are ways to clean it as well, which we can talk about in a whole other video, so they can last years if you take good care of them. Depending on what kind of project you are wanting to do, there are kind of a couple options, and I will talk about the two specific options that I mainly use, and again, this is my personal opinion. So I love to do heat transfer vinyl products, which is more like t-shirts and fabrics and things like that I'm adhering heat transfer vinyl or HTV on. That is my number one main thing that I love to do. And the second one is permanent vinyl projects. So this is where you're taking transfer tape. Again, something else you're going to want to buy if you are using permanent vinyl projects, so making mugs, picture frames, anything like, let's say this, and you want to put vinyl on this, that's going to be permanent vinyl. If you're making decals for your car or for anywhere in your house, any of those things, you're going to want to use some type of permanent vinyl, in my opinion, and that is where you are going to need permanent vinyl and transfer tape. So the transfer tape, or you can use contact paper, Glad wrap, it doesn't have to be actual transfer tape. And we can get into that again in a whole other video on Cricut hacks and cheaper ways to buy things. But the transfer tape is what you're going to need to transfer the image from your Cricut mat, the vinyl from your Cricut mat, onto whatever product that you are putting it on, and then you're going to like flatten it on and pull the tape off, and then it is going to be stuck on there. It's not really actual tape, it's just something to stick the vinyl to so you can temporarily transport it onto whatever else you're putting it on. Essentially, that's how it works. That is something else you are going to want to get if you are looking to work with vinyl that is not heat transfer. Heat transfer vinyl, you do not need transfer tape for. You literally cut out the image. It's already on this kind of clear little material, and what you're going to do is stick it on the fabric. You're going to put parchment paper or a thin tablecloth or a thin pillowcase, something thin between the iron or your heat press, which we'll get into 1 second, and you're gonna adhere the material with heat. Do you need a heat press? No, you do not. You do not need the Cricut Easy Press. You do not need a heat press. You can use your regular iron. I was not able to afford a Cricut Easy Press for 4 years, so I used my iron for 4 years and sold many projects because heat transfer vinyl is my favorite type of project to make and work with. So yes, I just used an iron, a very hard surface, some pressure, and it was good. I've even used a straightening iron for the really small projects like the Christmas elves that I make. So you do not need an easy press. Don't be too intimidated about spending all of this money at the beginning. Find out what you like first, and then you can kind of go into spending money on a heat press if you want, or different things that are more like luxuries in my opinion. The next thing you're going to need is whatever item or blank item, blanks they call them, that you would like to put your vinyl or whatever you're cutting onto. So let's say I wanted to decorate this. I mean, I have this in my house, but if you wanted to make a mug and you don't have mugs in your house, you're going to want to go to the Dollarama, local dollar store, buy a mug. or whatever item, a t-shirt. If you don't have a plain t-shirt in your closet that you could do, maybe you can go to the thrift store and just find a cheap t-shirt to try on. So I would suggest not buying these crazy high-end products to try to make and create first, because you are going to do trial and error different things, and it can be tricky at first, but I guarantee you it will get easier. It just takes a little bit of work sometimes, depending on what type of vinyl and projects you're making. Honestly, why not use stuff around the house that you already have? Putting cute decals on things, that was what I did. My very first project was putting a cute decal on my actual Cricut machine, and then my second project, I was actually pregnant at the time, so I made a baby onesie, and that was with heat transfer vinyl. So I was able to try 2 different kind of vinyls the first day and see what really worked great for me. And then after that, my next project onwards were things like mugs and picture frames and just decals in general. So that is kind of where I branched off, but I really started off easy and built my way up. If you're someone that's going to want to work with cardstock, making cards, little boxes, all of those little things, you're going to want to buy some type of cardstock to be able to make those things. So I wanted to mention that in there. I personally do not make cardstock things. I've never really made the cards on the Cricut. I don't know, it's just not really my passion. But if you are looking to make those things, you're going to need to buy cardstock to do so. So I would suggest doing that. Again, it doesn't have to be the crazy high-end cardstock. You could just get some cheap cardstock to try it out and go from there. Do you need to purchase the digital software, which is also called Cricut Design Space? No, you do not need to purchase it. I have seen this question so many times. You can download it for free. Download it for free on your laptop, any type of smartphone, tablet. Those things are where you're going to want to download it. Yes, you can pay, if you would like, for extra fonts and different SVG files, which are the files of the image or picture that you are going to be cutting. That's what they're called. Instead of a JPEG or a PNG, it's called an SVG. So you can purchase those on the Cricut Design website, but you do not need to. And I personally have never purchased any of those from Cricut Design Space. I personally find them elsewhere, like on Etsy. I purchased some SVG files. Sometimes I purchased like an Elsa one or different things like that for my daughter, but I also make my own. So I'm going to give you 3 main websites that I use for free. This is not sponsored in any way. This is just my genuine opinion. I'm sharing it with you. If you wanted some free options to download some free SVG files, you're going to go to lovesvg.com, and I was able to download free SVG files for the past 4 years off of there. You will see stuff that are for a price for sale, but there are also free versions that you can see on there. It'll literally say free or cross out the price and say $0, and you can just download those to your computer. Again, I will do a specific video on how to get those, because you need to kind of unzip the file, and it's a bit complicated of how I had to figure out how to do it, because at first I was like, it's not working to my Cricut, but I guarantee you it's just a couple steps you need to do in the folder once it's downloaded. So that is for these free files. The next one is for free fonts. They have hundreds and hundreds of fonts, and it is called dafont.com. And this works wonders. I download all my fonts off of there. Also, Cricut Design Space honestly has so many free fonts already, but I wanted to bring that up anyways. And the last one is making your own SVG files. That is at picsvg.com. Again, a little more complicated, but essentially you're taking a JPEG image and making it into a very simple SVG file. And I find that super helpful. I can do a video specifically on how to do that if you're interested, but I wanted to suggest that in case you wanted some free options. So that is it for what I suggest you need to start off with your Cricut. Happy crafting. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all quite soon. Bye.